Hey friends, welcome to another edition of Live Trading Thursday. My name is Kason South. I'm one of the IRAs here at Tradeway. I am filling in for David today. However, it is business as usual. We're going to jump into charts by Tradeway. We're going to take a look at the market this week. What's the overall trend? Get a feel of market tone, and then we're going to take a look at some individual stocks as well. See if we can't find some setups that are lining up with market tone. So if you're new here, drop your tickers in the chat box. That's where you're going to want to do that. Let me know where you're from, where you're watching from, and the chat box is where you're going to want to drop those tickers. And I'll take a look at those on the chart as we go. I also brought a few myself that we'll take a look at. So other than that, we're going to dive right into charts and take a look at the market this week. All right, here we go. So as you can see, this is today. This is all the sectors in the S&P. See, energy is the big loser today, down almost 3% on the day. Everything else is relatively quiet. Most stuff is pulling back a little bit. However, you're going to see that if we change this day to week, we get a little bit of a different view here, right? We have had a big week in the market. Real estate was actually a big winner for the week. Tech was up there. As you can see on Monday, following into the big gap on Tuesday morning, most everything is heading up. So we see that in a nice visual here. Got the heat map down here. Software's had a really good week. Semiconductors have had a good week. So tech's looking good. So that's a good overview we get right here on the homepage. Now we'll go into the actual chart. We're going to take a look at the SPX first, get a feel of market tone. What direction is the market heading? Well, we've seen just from the homepage that overall, we had a really bullish week. This was on Friday, this big candle right here. You can see we had this nice downtrend line going on the S&P here. When we got up here, and we failed right here, we were thinking, okay, we're going to get another leg down. The market had other plans, right? And we got a big bullish breakout on Friday. I mean, this was just really nice signal to the long side. Got a little inside day right here on Monday, and then a big gap on Tuesday morning, which, I mean, is never fun, unless you're already long, right? We had a lot of nice setups coming into Tuesday morning on our Market Watch webinars on Monday night that we do, and a lot of those took off, and those things can happen on big gap ups like this in the market. We just have to be careful not to chase this big move up. If you were on the sidelines this week and you're beating yourself up like, oh, man, I should have been in this move. This was just a really big move. I'm never going to catch another move like this in my entire trading career. I've got good news for you. The market's going to be open tomorrow. The market's going to be open next week and the week after that and the week after that, right? You're going to have other opportunities in your trading career. So you just got to stay studying up, stay ready, stay focused, and be ready to catch that next move. But yeah, just a really bullish week in the S&P so far. So what about now? Where are we at today? Pretty light day today. Tried to move up a little bit, tried to move down a little bit, kind of just sitting here moving sideways. And this really isn't a bad thing, guys. This is kind of invited. Even if we could get a little pullback down, if we could come back down and retest this 5-day moving average, even, if we get a little bit of a deeper pullback, we may come down and retest this 10. That would be, a deeper pullback. It may take a little bit longer, but this market is hot. So I wouldn't be surprised to see us come down and retest this 5-day and then, see if we can get another little bullish candle right off that 5-day, confirming another bounce off support, and then see if we can catch a move to the upside in this trend. That would be ideal. And, you know, even if we just kind of float sideways here for a few days, this 5-day moving average is going to catch up to price, right? The more days that pass. So even if we just move sideways and let this 5-day catch up and have a nice support underneath this and then get another nice bullish candle, that could also be another entry to the upside. So just got to be patient here. Patience is the theme right now, this week, going into next week. Just got to find some nice setups that are lining up with the market. And if the risk is good for you and your trading plan, then we could consider taking advantage of some bullish setups moving forward. All right, so there's our market tone for the day. Now, do we have any tickers in the comment box yet? All right, not quite yet. So I tell you what, I'll go ahead and get into the list that I brought and take a look at those setups. So first on deck, we have APO. APO. All right, so we'll take a look at this one. We were looking at this one for a nice breakout this week following Monday's candle. That was really nice. Excuse me. Tuesday broke down a little bit and then got a big gap up that following day. So kind of just shook that off completely. And now we're back in business here and we're pulling right back down to this support line and that 5-day moving average. So you see we came up, we made a higher high. Now we're going to see if we can put in a higher low right here. Now, what do we need to see here? Just a bullish confirmation off of support. That would be really nice. We got a nice clear stop out right down here below that support line and then heading back up to make a new high in this uptrend. Now, I don't know if this is going to set up. You know, this is not ready yet, but this has potential to set up. If the market can pull back a little bit here, go sideways, and then give us another bullish candle to the upside. So this is one to keep an eye on. You know, it's got a nice look to it. So, you know, keep it on your radar. All right, after APO, we have KDP. KDP. Kind of the same story here for this one. Got a nice move up, and then we were just kind of floating along sideways right here using this 50-day moving average as support. And then there's that gap up on Tuesday again, right? Got that big gap up, and now we're just kind of floating sideways here, pulling back a little bit today. We're going to use this 5-day as support, maybe come back a little further. I'm not sure. Just one to keep an eye on because this is starting to form a nice uptrend. Now we just got to see how much does this want to pull back? Does it want to hit the 5-day? And is it going to be strong enough to hold the 5-day and give us something like that? You know, that would be really nice here, you know, just like APO. So again, this one's not ready yet, but it's setting up nicely and it's definitely one to keep on your radar. All right, next we've got X. Looking at X. Okay, now this is an interesting one because you can see overall we have a really nice uptrend here, you know, holding above all the moving averages. You can see it's really riding the 10-day and the 5-day here. I mean, this is a hot stock, but it's not really giving us any big bullish candles, you know, to the upside here. If I zoom in here, I think I would like this line if I threw it in. You know, we've just got a little bit of a shelf here that we really need to break. And a nice bullish candle today, you know, it's trying. This one would be nice, but we're kind of just floating along and just kind of drifting up on this one. So, you know, if you've been to our Step 3 class here at Tradeway, this could be a good one to try and set up a credit spread on. See if you can get down there below those moving averages and sell a credit spread, bring in some premium, and just let this one drift up, drift higher. That could be a really nice setup there. All right, next up, we've got Spot. Gonna take a look at Spot. Yeah, look at this one, guys. Got a nice uptrend forming here after a big breakout of this consolidation area. Look at all this resistance, resistance, resistance. Move up, come back down, use it as new support. for that nice move up. And we had some resistance right here, found it again right here, found it again over here, and then we got a break above, pull back, retested support. Look at this candle today. Super nice candle today, guys. This is such a nice little trend right here. Nice stop out right below the 10-day moving average if spot pulls back on us. And then, first target, not that far away, but these previous highs right here. So, if you've been to Tradeway Step 4, could be a nice stock for a short-term debit spread right to these previous highs. That could be pretty nice. I mean, this is a nice bullish entry candle into this chart today. Just got to do your due diligence, right? See if the risk works for you, if you stop out below that 10-day. But this is a really nice chart here. All right. And Joseph, I see that you dropped us a few tickers in chat to look at. So I'll take a break from mine that I brought, and I'll take a look at your tickers. I appreciate that, Joseph. Joseph wants to look at WMT. WMT. Whoa. All right. So this is a good conversation to have. We had earnings today, it looked like. Had to have been before the market opened because Walmart has been in a really nice little uptrend. You can see we made a low, we made a high, we made a higher low, we made a higher high, made a higher low, and we just keep going. Higher high, higher low, higher high. Now we were just looking for Walmart to pull back, make another higher low, and then give us another entry into this trend. This was a really nice uptrend and just a big gap down, breaking this pattern down on earnings. The estimate was 1.53, so $1.53 a share. Earnings per share was $1.53 a share. So, I mean, they didn't beat, but they didn't miss either, and they still got this big gap down today. I mean, almost 8% today was at one point. So this is a really good example of why we teach you do not want to be in a trade during earnings. I mean, why would we teach something like that? Why is that a rule that we want to follow? Because it's such a 50-50 chance, right? And we don't want that in our trading. We want high probability setups, right? And earnings just throws all that out the window. I mean, you can see that Walmart didn't even miss their estimates here, and we still got a big gap down. So I'm not sure exactly what happened here. I would assume that their forward projections weren't very good for the coming year, and that's why we're seeing this today. But this is a really good example of why you don't want to be in a trade during earnings, even if it's a really nice uptrend, because you simply don't know what's going to happen the next day. So I appreciate you bringing this up, Joseph, because hope maybe there's somebody out there that needed to hear that. So that's really interesting. Yeah, Joseph was saying their earnings were pretty good, right? So, I mean, I'd have to look into this a little more. Usually if you get a big gap down and they beat or, had good earnings, it's usually something to do with the forward projections. So I'm assuming here, I'd have to look into that. But yeah, that's really interesting. I mean, that, good earnings and still big gap down, just crazy. All right, then Apple's up next. Market leader here. Looks not exactly like the S&P, but you can see we had that big breakout of this downtrend line that we had on Apple, and we have just taken off since. I mean, have barely even retested the 5-day since Apple took off. So is this a really fast-moving, nice bullish stock? Yeah. Is it a good entry point into this trend? No. At this point, we just like we talked about the S&P. I mean, Apple looks good, but we need some sort of pullback. Let's retest this 5-day. Let's get another setup going here. Let's retest the 5-day, see if Apple can hold and give us another nice bullish candle off the 5-day. That's the next high probability setup. So does it look good? Yeah. Is it a great entry today? No, it's not. We really need to see Apple go sideways or pull back a little bit here. then give us another entry. It's too far gone and it's a bit extended here, but always one to keep your eye on. And it looks like I'm going to refresh here because I've got a couple earnings coming up. Yeah, earnings already happened, so should be good there. All right, Apple and XO. XO, am I missing one? Is that XOM? I'll try XO here, Joseph, and see what comes up. That's XOM. I'm going to assume you mean XOM. I'll take a look at XOM. You can correct me if I'm wrong in the chat there, Joseph. XOM. All right, appreciate that. Yeah, this was another one of our spread picks from Monday night. Coach Caleb Pritchett was doing the spread watch webinars on Monday night, and this was one that was on there. You can see nice downtrend going here. I don't know if I'll be able to get a perfect line on here, but pretty close. Look at that. Got that nice wick. Tried to move up yesterday, failed. I mean, what a nice entry yesterday was, for a bear call credit spread somewhere up here and just letting this one drift down. At this point, little too far gone to the downside. It's down almost $2 here today. So is it a nice looking chart, Joseph? Yeah, absolutely. Is it a good entry? Not really. At this point, we've made a new low. So this move, it's made its move already. And, if you got in this one earlier this week, you're happy right now. If you're watching this one from the sidelines, we need to see something like this, pull back up, retest the moving averages, retest resistance, then give us another failure candle to the downside. But yeah, really nice chart. Definitely one you want to keep your eye on for sure. So I appreciate you bringing that up. And Tom is taking a look at TDOC, ready for W move up. All right, let's see. Tom, TDOC. All right, I see what you're talking about here. We put in a nice little double bottom down here, have a nice little shelf of support. Now, overall, Tom, you can't really ignore where I want to draw this from. You can't really ignore this big downtrend, like that line right there. We've been in a pretty big downtrend for a while, but we are trying to break out of this right here. So long term, is this going to hold and really try to move up? Time will tell. We'll see. Short term, how could you trade this? Zoom in a little bit here. That's a little too much. Zoom in here. If Teladoc can give us a hold of these moving averages down here, give us a hold of support, close back above this 20-day moving average, I think you could look to trade this from the 20 up to the 50. This would be my target right here for a short-term trade on TDOC. Playing it in between the moving averages. Long-term, if this is going to turn into, a W and move up, we'd probably, move up, retest that 50, pull back a little bit, and then break up through that 50, and then move back up and break up through that 50. Then that could become a bigger move. Time will tell. We'll have to see. It's getting a pullback today. But for short term, yeah, I would want to see TDOC close back above this cluster of moving averages, and then first target that 50-day moving average. So hopefully that helps you there a little bit, Tom. Get rid of that. All right. Believe that clears up the tickers in the chat. We still got a little bit more time. So if you got something you want to look at, make sure you throw that in the comment section. And I've got one more to take a look at. Now this one, I believe, guys, this was a short trade this week. FTT. So if you've been through our step 2 class, then you know how to trade puts and trade stocks to the downside. This was one of those options we had. Just a really weak stock. Couldn't even break the 5-day. With that gap on Tuesday, we did break the 5 and retested the 10, but we found some resistance, and then broke this mini little uptrend line right here today for a nice move down. So is it too far gone? That's for you to decide. If you can handle a stop out up here, only you can answer that question. But this is a nice chart to the downside. If the market gets a little bit of a deeper pullback, you could see some of these charts work out. However, it is a counter trend trade to the overall market. I mean, going back to the S&P, this market is just really strong, right? So any put trades, going to the downside is going to be counter trend because this is just a resilient market, right? So you have to think through that. Does that work for you? Does the risk work for you? But there's a few stocks to watch, going into the end of this week and into next week. Next week is a shortened week in the market. Market's closed for Thanksgiving, and I believe it is a half day on Friday. So keep that in mind. Volume could be pretty light. It could be a good week just to take a break, give thanks, spend some time with your family. You never have to be in the market at all times, right? Sometimes you just take a break, go do some other things, get away from that computer screen. All right. Now, one last thing before we end today, if there's anybody out there watching this live or you're watching the recording and you're thinking, okay, Kason, I get it. These patterns, they make sense, but I just don't know where to start, right? What's step number one, to place in that first trade? So I'm going to drop a link in the comments right now to a free ebook, literally titled 10 Steps to Choosing Your First Stock Trade. Just making sure that's right. Sending that in there right now. So that's a gift, for being on with me today, for hanging out and putting up with my rambling. I appreciate that. So go check out that link, read through that book. It's a great place to start, right? To get your bearings, literally 10 steps to choosing your first stock to trade. So hopefully that helps you guys. Have a good rest of your week. Thank you for being on with me today, and I'll see you soon. All right.